Hi, this is Jeff Spira. You may or may not know me by my presence online, but I'm a boat designer and boat builder. I've been designing and building boats pretty much all my adult life. Maybe a few as a kid too. I have to think back there. I got heavily involved in Morro Bay. I went to college in San Luis Obispo in the early 1970s. So I built a lot of boats then, and that's again carried over throughout my life. I've been selling plans online since about 1995, I think, and uh, it's been growing ever since quite a bit. I've set up a YouTube channel in 2007 where I put a couple of videos up and then put a bunch of videos of other people building their boats on. And I thought I would expand it into this channel and offer you something new now. I'm going to get into detail about how to build a boat. So the title of this series is Yes, You Can Build a Boat. I get a lot of emails from people who the basic question is, can I really build one of your boats? And the answer is absolutely you can. Probably 75 or 80% of the people who build my boat designs are first-time builders. So it doesn't require that you know a lot about boat building. There's no particular skills required to do that. There's a few, but they don't involve building boats. And I'll get into those in a little bit. So the big question is, have you built a boat before? Well, if you have, mine are a little bit different design than most out there. I rely on a unibody construction. It's the mechanical engineer in me coming out. And it has to do with bonding the boat together as opposed to screwing it together. Most boats are wooden boats anyway, are a bunch of loose parts that are roughly held together by some fasteners that, if the fasteners corrode, then the whole thing falls apart into a pile of parts. Well, mine's a unibody. It's built using methods that hold the whole thing together. You could actually take the screws out and the boat would be fine as long as you filled the holes behind them. So I don't worry too much about stainless steel corrosion and things like that. Again, I'm going to get into a lot of these details in these upcoming videos. So anyway, it doesn't require to build one of my boats. Does not require that you've built a boat before, that you know really much at all about how to build a boat. The big question is, do you know how to use tools? I'm not talking about fancy CNC routers or anything like that. I'm talking about just hand tools. Can you use a hand saw? Can you use a plane? You know how to sharpen a plane? Again, I'm gonna come up with a lot of videos that go along with this that are going to reinforce some of these things. But using basic tools and having the familiarity with them is important. I'm also going to come up with another video that shows you how to build things out of wood using basic hand tools, and we'll probably offer you a free set of plans for a set of sawhorses that you can build, and they'll be important for building your boat if you're building it in your garage or place. I get a lot of age questions too. People ask me, I'm only 13 years old or 14 years old. Can I build a boat? And the answer is yes. I've had a lot of builders that were young people, sometimes with the help of dad or grandpa, or sometimes all on their own. And I have had older people too as well. I've got one builder that we talked a lot on the phone, and his very first time, he was 83 years old, his very first boat build. And not only that, but he did such a nice job that he won Best Power Boat at the Wooden Boat Show in Mystic Seaport, Connecticut. That's the big wooden boat show in all the country, and he won first place in as for power boats. So he did a great job on it. Yeah, it seems to me a lot of people get a hold of me and say, I'm just retiring or I'm about to retire, and I've always wanted to build a boat, and now's a good time to start. So that's true, it is. It doesn't require any particular health or strength issues or anything to build it. These can all be put together quite easily. You know, it's just not that tough. So one thing people worry about is space restrictions a lot. So you know, I've had a lot of people say, you know, I don't really have a place to build it. Well, you know, in decent weather, you can build it outside. You know, you can come up with a cover, or they make these tent-looking things that are carport type things that you can buy pretty inexpensively and set up and build the boat underneath that if you live in a rainy area or anything like that. I've even had people build them in their apartments. You know, I have one customer built it in a second-story apartment, took it out through the kitchen window, or the living room window, I guess. And I don't know what the landlord thought of it, but he had pictures of him lowering it down with some ropes through the window. And a lot of people build it in the basement, or, you know, you can build all the pieces in the basement and then wait till summertime or whatever and take it to the garage and assemble it outdoors, you know, or whatever you like. So all kinds of ways to find the space to do it. So what you really need, there's some skills that you need. You need to understand how to read a drawing, for instance. Now, I'm planning on coming up with a how to read mechanical and architectural drawings, a simple video that'll show you what to look for and how to go about reading it and all that. My drawings are a little more mechanical engineering oriented than they are architectural, but I do scale them and use some architectural terminology in them and that sort of thing. But you kind of have to know how to read those. And like I said, I'll create a video on that, so you'll have a chance to look through that as well. You also have to understand dimensions. Most of my boats are made in imperial dimensions, which is, of course, feet and inches. The first page is all in combination of feet and inches, and then all the detailed drawings were all in straight inches. So I wouldn't say 3 feet 2 inches. I would say, you know, 38 inches in the detailed part of it. But I would say 3 feet 2 inches in the front page. So and I also do them in metrics. Some of the smaller boats I do both. Mix the dimensions. Well, I don't mix them. I dual dimension them. So I would put the feet in inches and the millimeters on it. But my larger boats, because it chews up so much space putting all those numbers on there, that I create 2 sets of drawings. Now, I don't necessarily have metric dimensions for all my boats, but that's okay. If you want to buy one of the boats that does not have metric dimensions, just go ahead and send me a note and go ahead and buy the plans and tell me, hey, I'm looking for the metric version of this boat that you only show in inches. And I'll kick it out and create it for you pretty quickly. It's fairly easy to convert. I've worked extensively with both sets of dimensions, so I can find my way around easily enough either way. So you also have to be able to follow directions. That's important. Now I include a manual with all of my boat plans, and there's actually two of them. There's one of them for ply-on-frame boats, and it describes, you know, the materials to use, the fasteners, how to actually build the boat, what steps to take in what order, and that sort of thing. I think it's 40 pages, something like that. And then for stitch and glue boats, I have another one. It's called the Stitch and Glue Construction Manual. Now, these come with the boat plans when you buy them, but you can also download these ahead of time. If you join the insider section of my website, it'll automatically send you an email that'll have a link to the insider section. And check your spam folder if you don't get it right away. And you can go on there and download the PDF versions of those and print it out yourself or read it on your computer screen or your phone screen. Easy enough. And it's a good idea to do that before you decide whether to buy a set of plans, because it goes into a lot of detail that's going to be pretty important for you. And then the final step that's a skill that you need to build a boat is to get started. You know, buy a set of plans, pick up some wood, and get going. It's important to start. A lot of people think about this forever and never really get around to it, or they think about it for a long, long time, and then finally they get around to it. So finding the incentive to get going is the important part of it. It's not particularly expensive to do these. People ask me, how much does it cost? Well, you know, it varies. Some people use scrap metal, scrap wood that they find in different places, or they take away from construction sites, or, you know, they got enough stashed in the back of their barn to rip up and use on their boat. So sometimes it doesn't cost much. Trust me, though, the motor and the trailer are going to cost a lot more than the hull. So don't worry about how much it costs. It can be very inexpensive, or it can be quite expensive depending on what kind of materials you use. If you want to use really select, you know, oak and mahogany and things like that, it can run up to some prices. But I'll do another video on how much does it cost to build a boat, and that's going to be also included in this series of videos that I'm going to do. So that's going to be kind of important. So then you need the persistence to see it through. I don't know how many of these get started. You know, I have a friend that started building a boat that was designed by one of my competitors, and it was before he met me. And he's been at it over 15 years, and it's not done yet. So, and he puts the hours in on it too. So, you know, it depends on your own skills and talents, how fast you get it done. You know, some people 3 or 4 weekends and, you know, they're almost ready to go to the lake, and other people spend a year on it. So you never really know. So it's important to give that a thought on do you have the time to do it, or are you willing to put in the hours? Typically, though, these hulls, most of my hulls, you know, under 22 feet or so, can be built in less than 200 hours. So, you know, that's what is that, a month? 170 working hours in a month. So if you put in a weekend and you know, a couple of evenings, maybe you put in a few hours, you know, in 6 months you'll have the whole thing together, ready to go. So again, some builders take years, so that's your call, not mine. I can't answer your question if you were to send me an email about how long it's going to take you. So anyway, so go to my site and sign up for the insider section. I'd also appreciate it if you would subscribe to this video if it sounds like something you're interested in, and some of the other videos that I'm talking about make sense to come look for, and hit the subscribe button, and there's a bell there too that will notify you when new videos get loaded up. Please hit that as well. So I'd also appreciate it if you could either tag or forward this video to some of your friends who you think might be interested in building a boat. I'd like to get the word out and some of this information out to as many people as we can. So, well, thank you for watching and look forward to the next video coming soon.